What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your man Chaz Ellis once again. Now, I did a video about why guys don't call or take you out. And what I basically said was, it's really because you just haven't separated yourself from a lot of the options that they might have. A lot of ladies ask me, how do you separate yourself? How do you change things? How do you make your situation different? Well, basically what you want to do to separate yourself is change your mindset. That's the biggest thing. Change the way you're looking at the situation, change the way you look at dating, change the way you look at relationships. Because that's the thing that separates you more than anything, is the way you think about a particular situation. Now, a story that a lot of people like to tell is how Michael Jordan, who most people consider to be the greatest basketball player of all time, was actually cut from his high school team as a sophomore. He was trying out for varsity, basically didn't make the varsity team, ended up being sent down to junior varsity. You know, it was embarrassing for him. It hurt his feelings, made him feel bad about his situation. You know, he went home and cried. Now, of course, we all know that Michael Jordan bounced back and became the Michael Jordan, also known as the greatest of all time, 6 championships. We can go on and on with the accolades. He did a lot. But what people never really think about is, what's the difference between Michael Jordan and the thousands and thousands of other people who got cut from their high school teams that year? What's the difference? Michael Jordan could have gone home, cried about it, said, man, the coach be cheating, man. The coach ain't fair. He playing favorites. I don't know why he can't see my talent. If he don't see my talent, he's a punk. He's a sucker. I quit basketball. And that's what a lot of other people actually did. Let's be real, right? But no, instead he went home, he worked twice as hard. He played with his brother Larry all the time, who used to beat the crap out of him. But he used that to get better and better and better until he was able to become Michael Jordan, the person that we know and have heard of now. So the way he was able to do that, though, was because his mindset was different. He had the same competition as everybody else, but his mindset was different. He wasn't thinking like all the other people around him, like, if I get cut from a team, let's complain, let's blame the coach, let's blame everybody else, let's just quit playing basketball. You know, just like if somebody else is sitting on the bench, they're not getting in the game like they want to, what do? Quit, blame the coach, blame everybody. I know I'm better than all these guys, but you got to prove it. You got to improve your game. The difference between the person who actually gets in the game and ends up being somebody and the person who quits and never makes it is the mindset. Well, you got to look at it the same way when you're talking about relationships. You have to start looking at a relationship the same way you look at business, the same way you look at sports, the same way you look at fitness, the same way you look at other things that people know you're supposed to put forth a lot of effort in, that people know that you're supposed to be the best that you can be. You got to start looking at relationships in that same way, and it separates you from everybody else. Here's the thing. You go out with somebody, you know, they call you a couple times. Maybe they start becoming hot and cold, don't call you as much, don't take you out as much. Everyone else that they might be talking to, everyone else dealing with somebody on that level is probably going to send a have a nice life text. Have a nice life. I don't need you anyway. You are a loser. Okay, that's what most people would do in that situation. That's your competition. Look at the comments that you see on just even on this channel. I'm not trying to be funny, but look at what you see. Well, I walk away. Well, I don't need somebody like that. I'm going to get a real man who's going to actually be there for me and step up to the plate. That's your competition. As long as you're thinking like your competition, you're going to get the same results as your competition. You're not going to beat your competition. But when you stop thinking like them, then you start separating yourself. If you start thinking to yourself, okay, this person's not calling me as much as I want him to. This person's not taking me out as much as I want him to. How do I look at this from a business standpoint? What is it that they want? What is it that they need? What is it that they have already? What is it that I could do to make myself more valuable in this situation? Not necessarily just going up and giving them everything they want and all that, because is that what you would do in business? No. Say you weren't getting a promotion. Would you go back and get an education? Would you go back and get training and get some more certificates to make yourself valuable to everybody? Then your boss or your job may see it that way also. But even if they don't, you'd have other chances somewhere else. That's what you do in business, right? You don't just go quit and say, well, if they don't see my worth, I'm going to quit and go somewhere else who will see my worth. Because 9 times out of 10, the new place isn't going to see your worth either. And you'll probably be going from job to job for the next 2 or 3 years, which I've actually done before. It generally doesn't work out. I'm telling you that from personal experience. So what you do is you want to build yourself up and make yourself more valuable to your company, make yourself more valuable to wherever you are. And even if the company doesn't see your value, you got new opportunities later on because you're more valuable overall. That's how you got to start looking at relationships. Now, I know you got your married friends, your friends that are in relationships, and they always want to tell you the cool story about, yeah, and my husband stepped up to the plate and he didn't play no games and he didn't do anything other than just come to me and give me everything I wanted. That's how I know. Why won't you take a look at that person's husband? I'm not trying to be funny, but take a look at that person's husband and ask yourself, is this somebody that I would actually want to be married to? If the answer to that question is no or hell no, then their advice really isn't going to work for you. I'm just saying. You ought to also look at your friend and see what their situation is and where they are in life and what they might have going for them that maybe right at this moment you may not have had going for you. You got to look at the situation in its totality to see what's right for you. You got to start looking at the situation differently. Start looking at it like a business. Start looking at it like a sport. Start looking at it like you would your fitness. Start looking at it like you would your nutrition, your education. If you start looking at relationships in the same way you look at everything else, you'll start winning. Now, some people look at everything else in a way that causes them to lose. If that's the case, then you could use the fact that your relationships aren't working and how you look at them to feed everything else you have in life and start saying, man, maybe this is why I'm not succeeding at anything. Maybe it's because every time something doesn't work out, I got somebody to blame, or I'm trying to hurl insults at people, or I'm trying to make something the world's fault or some systemic issue that really is more about me than anything else. You got to start thinking like that and saying, man, what can I do to change my life? If you do that, you're going to separate yourself from everybody else because this is what your competition is doing right now. When something doesn't work out for them, they're blaming people, they're giving up, they're walking away from the situation in its entirety, and they're never going to get anywhere. They're going to do that in their life. A lot of them are going to do that in their business or anything that they ever have a hard time with. Soon as things get tough, they just give up. If you change your mindset, if you change how you approach the world, if you change how you approach relationships, how you approach people, how you deal with people, how you take in information, how you take in rejection, you're going to start becoming a totally different person. You're going to start getting a one-up on everybody else because you're going to be the one to make the right decisions. It's just like when you deal with guys. There's 2 types of guys. There's the type of guy who asks a girl out, she says no, or she says, I got to think about it, or I'm not really trying to be in a relationship right now. He takes that, gets emotional, and he's like, I don't need you anyway. Or he tries to whine about it. Well, why can't you give me a chance? Whatever the case is, he doesn't look at it from a strategic point of view. All he does is get upset. All you want to do is date thugs. Same type of behavior. That's that one type of guy. Then you got a guy who takes it in stride. You know what? I understand where you're coming from. I get it. He still continues to communicate, finds the right time. He's dating that girl in a few months. He might have her and a few other girls, but either way, I'm just saying, he's getting what he wants out of the situation. That's because he's thinking. He's looking at it like he would a sport. He's looking at it like he would a job. He's looking at it like he would a business opportunity. He's looking at that for what it is and not taking it personally. That's how you got to be as a woman. You got to be the same way. You got to basically look at the situation and say, how can I be different than my competition? How can I be just like guy number 2 would be and take over and have my competition just light years behind me? Now, hopefully I was able to help you out. Make sure you check out my book, Settling for Success, Taking What You Can Get to Get What You Want. If you want to get an advanced copy and support the book, all you got to do is go to askchazzellisproject.com or sign up on patreon.com and get it to you that way. Once again, it's your man, Chaz Ellis. Make sure you like and subscribe and share this video with somebody else. Peace.